The telecoms sector is a big player in Europe's economy and affects all of us in some way. For some time now, MEPs have been considering a draft package of measures to regulate the sector, and that process has reached its climax this week here in Strasbourg. The legislation being debated this week is the result of painstaking negotiations between the Parliament and the Council. The two institutions had to enter a process known as conciliation to try to find agreement on certain disputed elements of the legislation, which became known as the telecoms package. Swedish MEP Gunnar Hökmark explained to us some of the reasons why this legislation was delayed.
I think one was, how do we ensure that there will be an opportunity for new entrants to take part in the investments of the new technologies and the new generations. A second one has been how to defend the internet user from being taken away from the net, securing that if that is done, it must be in line with European legislation.
For the Commission, the telecoms package has been a signal of its commitment to open up markets, drive innovation and enhance consumer rights. Viviane Reding is the Commissioner responsible for the Information Society.
Now we see adoption of the reform package as it now stands. The Union will have a regulatory framework that is fit to meet the challenges of a rapidly developing digital economy based on fair prices for all to get telephone and internet connections, while preparing the ground for investments in high-speed networks delivering high-quality, innovative services. Now these rules, these reforms will make the European Union a global leader in the regulation of electronic communications, not just by improving the mechanism to move towards a competitive single market, but also by putting the rights of the citizens at the heart of a regulatory policy.
Commissioner Reding also reassured MEPs who had feared it would be easier for internet service providers to block customers' access to the web. She said that internet users would be protected by law.
The compromise reached in conciliation lays down for the first time in EU law the fundamental rights of internet users against measures that could limit their internet access. This is a very important internet freedom provision. It makes clear that the internet, which becomes more and more central to our daily lives, should be subject to the same safeguards for our fundamental rights as other areas of activity. Prior fair procedures with the presumption of innocence and the right to privacy, followed by the right to effective and timely judicial review, those are the rules which have been put into the new reform package.
MEPs were lobbied heavily by consumer rights groups to ensure an adequate level of protection for internet users. How satisfied are you that you've met the concerns of internet users who have written to you and to other MEPs?
I think we have ensured that fully and totally, securing that no one will be cut off from the internet if it is not totally inconsistent with the European Convention on Human Rights about information and freedom, and also securing that each one has the right to be heard. I think we have done that quite well.
So can you give us some examples of how the consumer will benefit from this legislative package?
First of all, that you can make a choice and choose another operator. It will be much easier, and that's why you can always be the one who decides what sort of package of services you shall have. Number of channels, or how to use internet, what sort of technologies, or to use e-health, e-medicine, e-trade, etc. All the things that we have seen coming forward the last 10 years, they will accelerate the next coming 10 years, and I want Europe to be in the lead in this arena.
The legislation was approved by a majority of MEPs, meaning one of the biggest and most complicated packages of regulation to come before the Parliament in recent years will now become law.